Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I know it's been a minute since we've been hanging out. I am so grateful, so excited to have a little bit of normalcy for a few weeks, but also just to be business as usual for our class, despite the government shutdown. We're going to be fine. All right. So we are in week 10. Congratulations. So for this week, hopefully we'll have some more fall weather, which I'm ready for. Week 10 readings are due. Then part 3 case conceptualization assessment results are due. Then you're reading chapter 17, personality disorders, treatment of personality disorders, and decolonizing therapy. For the actual assignment, case substitution assessment results, you're doing a brief introduction overall. You should have given your OQ45 part 2 by now. You are going to include the assessment results and interpretation. You then are going to talk about the assessment you did in the last assignment and the OQ45. This is a great time to talk about clinical implications as the lap over. So for instance, if I did the OQ45 and then I also did Beck's anxiety inventory scale, then I would expect to see anxiety peak or not across both scales. So you just want to talk about that. Cultural application, again, thinking about how does your client's culture inform or change the results of the interpretation. Possible limitations of assessment. You can use the limitations you used in your other paper for this one as well, but also including things for the OQ45. Then overall conclusions, you should have up to 5 references. It's more than okay for you to use references that you had before. The goal is just to make sure you have enough at the very, very end. Yeah, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Yeah, if you need more guidance, more questions, please look at the examples and then also look at the actual whole entire video I did that covers this exact assignment. I mean, that's week 10. So if that's all you're here for, thank you for coming. We're going to jump into our last journal question. Boom, here we are, journal question. So I had 2 journal questions. I'm only going to talk about one of them, I think. We'll see. I'm trying to keep this nice and short. Um, so I have been listening to, let me pull it up to make sure I say what it actually is. I have been listening to the embodied, is that what it is? Man, we're doing so well. And then I lost it. Yes, embodied astrology with Renee Sills. So a friend of mine, Krista, she sent me this podcast a few months ago of like, hey, I think this might be interesting in you. They do a podcast for your monthly horoscopes as well. But they also do a weekly podcast, so the week ahead. The thing that makes this podcast a little bit different is embodied astrology also talks about how things show up in your body, what your astrology feels like in your body, what are your touch points, your kind of rough edges, but also like what are things that show up for you that maybe you're not really thinking about, which is what I like. And so this week, Renee was talking about trust. So it starts out talking about peace. Like, what does peace mean? What does peace look like? Who deserves peace? And then from there, really thinking about when peace is showing up, what does it feel like? Like, what does peace feel like? And then is it afforded to everyone? And the reason this caught my ear, the reason this caught my ear was because when I was at ACEs this past week, someone was talking about like peaceful times. Like, do we live in a society that's peaceful? And then can peace be harmful? And I was like, ooh, just like got to me in a different way. And I was like, oh, I want to talk about this. So the two questions I have. So the first question is thick skin and soft hearts. Then the second question is embodied trust. Um, yeah, I think I'm going to talk about thick skin and soft hearts. So reflect on the balance between having thick skin and a soft and malleable heart. How can you develop good boundaries while remaining open and receptive to the emotions of others? What strategies can you implement to maintain this balance in your counseling practice? Uh, and right now, this question probably speaks to me the most. Just given how grief has been showing up in our program, how grief has been showing up in my life, really teasing out what it means to have thick skin. Um, I'm not sure if this has shown up for other people, but throughout my life, especially when I was little, I had people in my family or people around me tell me that I needed thicker skin, like I needed to be a little stronger, be a little bit more rugged, um, weather better, which is so interesting now because I feel like today, when I'm recording this, October 15th, 2025, these like soft skills, these empathy, meeting people where they are, holding space, creating a container, like those are things that we expect people to be able to do without really realizing that those are things that we have been trained to do as therapists or as counselors. As counselors, we're trained to hold space. We're trained to table our emotions and our feelings and the chaos that's going on in our own lives while also leaning in to discomfort as our clients challenge themselves and challenge us. And for me, this idea of having thick skin required me to not have the empathy and not have the full authenticity that is known to me now. Whew. Um, yeah, like I don't know if I could be the authentic version I am right now if I kept upholding this idea of having really thick skin. Um, it feels like a call to toughen up in a way that makes me lose empathy, but also makes me lose deep connection with others and makes me lose connection with my community. And I feel like right now, in this economy, in this timeline, with this government shutdown, community is more important than ever. Like leaning into community, being supported by community, feeling loved by community is just critical. When I was in Philadelphia, I was able to have dinner with my sister-in-law, and that just sustained me. That gave me all of the good vibes, the good feelings, and happiness I needed to carry me into Thanksgiving break, where I will hopefully see her again. If planes are still flying, I will be in Philadelphia for Thanksgiving break. Yeah, so like I I will say there are moments in my life where thick skin helps me just maintain a balance from day to day. Um, and I wouldn't say thick skin, I would actually add in code switching. Um, and I don't know if we've talked about code switching before, but code switching in a way that allows you to get stuff done because you can't be swayed, you can't be moved, you can't be pulled in multiple directions all the time, especially emotionally. And there are times when I'm in meetings or things that I don't really enjoy, like there's parts of my job I don't love. where code switching into a less authentic version of myself allows me just to get more stuff done, because mentally processing it with a soft heart might be too heavy. And I know it's a huge privilege of mine to say this, but I have been so lucky, so grateful, so just blessed to have more space in my life now where I don't have to code switch. I can just authentically be myself. Um, and so I would say in this year, in 2025, my heart is soft and malleable at all times. And that has caused me to create more boundaries, good boundaries, to have separation between people who I don't believe are in community, are in support of my highest good. And I felt that heavy, heavy, heavy this last week at ACES, where I ran into people who I'm not necessarily in community right now, but maybe I was in community in the past, who just like, just challenged my heart, like made me feel less than, made me feel like I wasn't capable, position my experience in this profession um as a negative, but also regularly, like all the time, told me that I couldn't do this work. Um and so it was interesting seeing those people at a conference where that narrative is very much gone, but those feelings are not. And I am not interested in being in community with them. But we also keep things professional, right? So, like, you can be professionals with someone and not call them friends. And I think about that a lot. Someone from my master's program said to me, like, oh, are you still doing the most, still going out of your way to try to prove yourself? And I was just like, I haven't been a master's student since 2020. I haven't been a master's student since 2015. And I haven't been in community with that person since 2015. And so the ideas they have of me, the person they knew me as 10 years ago is not the person I know now. Um, but a reminder that that person lacks curiosity and just expansion. That person lacks the expansion to believe that I could be someone else. Um, even though I believe that they can be someone else now, right? So I would say having good boundaries is really important. Understanding your authenticity is yours. You don't have to prove it to anyone. It's not on display. It's not a bargaining chip. Oh, relationships should not be transactional. Oh gosh, I don't have any relationships right now that are transactional. And I am so grateful for that. I am so grateful for that. And so part of this question, the last part, is what strategies can you implement to maintain this balance in your counseling practice? Being at Umoja has just been such a wonderful opportunity for me as a therapist and as a counselor, and also an opportunity to inform my teaching and bring that work into this space as well. And so I use my authenticity all the time now. I deeply feel like if people hate my authenticity, then if people if people are challenged by my authenticity, those are not people that I need to be in community with. Um, and that means my softness, my heart, my excitement, the way that I cry now, like the way that I cry now when you tell me something so good, um, just as much as when you trust me with something so personal, I am beyond grateful, beyond grateful. So, yeah, I would say thick skin and soft hearts, So reflect on the balance between having thick skin and a soft and malleable heart. Um, yeah, 95% of the time, my heart is soft and malleable. And then 5% of the time, when I interact with people that are not always there for my highest good, thick skin allows me to move through that space without feeling as much harm. All right. So today, the thick skin I have supports me in spaces that are not supportive, but always, 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 always protects my heart and allows me to show up with a full, authentic heart whenever possible. Yeah. So, what do you think? Thick skin, soft hearts. Please tell me what you think about this practice. Is it possible? What is the balance for you? What is the balance of your soft, malleable hearts? And how does thick skin show up in your life? And then, if you feel so inclined, you can actually answer the other question, which is consider the concept of a felt sense of trust. So, what does trust mean like for you? How does it show up for you? What practices can you adopt to foster a deep sense of trust within yourself and within your clients? Yeah. All right. Thick skin, soft hearts, embodied trust. I hope that you are having a fantastic, fantastic week 10, and I will see you on Thursday. Bye, everyone.